What is going on there, YouTube? And welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from Marvel, DC, and even IDW as well. This time, we are going to jump back over to DC Comics and pick up with the Batman Battle of the Cowl storyline. This story picks up right after the ending of Final Crisis, where Batman is dead to the world. But this leads into multiple questions. What will happen to Gotham with Batman gone? Will the villains begin to rule the city? Most importantly, who will take up the mantle of Batman? Those questions do get answered in this classic DC storyline that fans really do love. But it also did set up the next phase for Batman comics. And so if you do like today's comic book video, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. But I do hope you enjoy today's video. So with this book picking up in the aftermath of Final Crisis, where Batman is dead and Gotham is falling apart without Batman being around, crime is rising, but the book picks up with Tim Drake Robin and a character named Squire who were sent out to protect an area of Gotham. And they're only going after a small group of thugs, but for the sake of the story, they are able to grab one thug, but the others are able to sneak deeper into the building. Except when Robin and Squire get upstairs, they hear some gunshots. But when they enter the room, they find the thugs all tied up and a note saying, "I am Batman." Before we can explore who is out there running around as Batman, we see the story give us a couple pages to show us how bad Gotham has gotten without Batman around, where you have a huge chunk of the Bat family out there trying to save the city, but it is falling apart. And there is a gang war between two gangs which belongs to Two-Face and the Penguin. The police department is losing policemen and women right and left, and the mayor has declared a state of emergency. And Nightwing is trying to lead the charge, but it is hard for him to lead a charge when everything is falling apart all around him. Then we pick up with a bunch of buses that are transporting a huge chunk of thugs and villains to Arkham Asylum, except the buses are being stopped by the Black Mask. Now this is not the first Black Mask that most fans know of, which is Roman Sionis. This is actually the second Black Mask, because the first one died in a Catwoman book. Except you have this Black Mask stop the buses and let all the villains out. Except he also tells them that they're going to help him with his big plan. But while he says that, we also see Arkham Asylum blow up. This leads back to the Batcave, where you have Tim Drake confront Dick Grayson about someone taking up the mantle of Batman. Since the city is falling apart, it needs a Batman to keep the city together. Now Nightwing believes that no one can be Batman and the Batman mantle should die. Except you have Tim Drake tell Dick Grayson that someone else is running around as Batman right now, and they have to find this new Batman and stop him. Now after their conversation, you have Tim Drake do what Tim Drake does best, being a great detective, that he starts to look at the clues on who could be this new Batman running around Gotham, where you have him decide to go after this fake Batman but wearing one of Bruce Wayne's old Batman outfits, stating he is going to take up the mantle of Batman, or at least stop the person who thinks that he is Batman from ruining the Batman mantle. And while Tim is doing that, you have Dick Grayson have the same conversation about someone taking up the mantle of Batman. Bruce asks the Bat family to let the Batman mantle die. Except to Alfred, maybe Bruce was wrong, and someone should take up the mantle to at least save Gotham from being wiped out. Of course, Dick Grayson does not want to take up the mantle, but before they can continue on with their conversation, they get a call from Barbara Gordon about what happened to Arkham Asylum. And so you have Dick Grayson go there and talk to Jim Gordon about what happened to figure out who did the bombing on Arkham Asylum. And they think it was Two-Face or the Penguin, since they are the last two gangs in Gotham. Now we do see Catwoman being Catwoman, which at this point she is an anti-hero, but she's trying to protect Gotham from crime. But she sees Tim Drake dressed up as Batman, and we see him going to where he thinks he can find this fake Batman at, where he finds this underground tunnel that could possibly lead to him finding the fake Batman. Now we do get a one-pager where we see that Black Mask forces have attacked Two-Face men on a pier to make it look like that it was Penguin, since again there are only two powerful gangs in the city. But then the story had to remind us that Bruce Wayne had a son, which of course is Damian Wayne. At this point, he just appeared in DC Comics. He is not Robin just yet. He's just a kid who's part of the Bat family because he's Batman's son. But we see him taking the Batmobile out to show off to some girl, except Barbara ruins his plans by taking over the Batmobile and kicking the girl out of the vehicle. Barbara wants Damian to go to the pier to check out what happened, except we see that Killer Croc attacks the Batmobile and sends it flying, and now Damian is cornered. Except Nightwing comes in and saves Damian before he's chopped meat for Killer Croc by coming in on one of those gliders. Except this leads into someone actually being able to shoot Nightwing and Damian out of the sky, where of course they do land in the middle of some random building. Except when they do get inside the building, there are even more explosions that send them flying. And so this leads to Nightwing telling Damian that he needs to stay where he's at so he can take these guys down. Except that is when we see the appearance of the person running around as Batman coming here to kind of save Nightwing, but to show Nightwing that hey, there is a new Batman running around in Gotham. Now, before we can watch the first interaction with Dick Grayson in this new Batman, you had the story shift back over to the pier, where Two-Face did have under control, except Black Mask attacked there to make it seem like it was the Penguin. Now, Two-Face wants to go after the Penguin to get revenge, but at the same time, Penguin also gets word that Two-Face thinks it was him who attacked the pier, and neither side knows that it was Black Mask. Now, getting back to what people want to see, we see that this new Batman had already defeated all the thugs that were after Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne, where this leads into a battle between the two sides. Now, we do get a few panels to show us this fight, where the fight is pretty much even between the two sides, except you had this new Batman who's using guns actually ends up shooting Damian right in the chest to stop Dick Grayson. Now, Black Canary and Huntress appear to help out, but this new Batman is able to escape, and Nightwing tells him to stop, and he will chase after this new Batman later on. And with the fight ending, we pick up with this new Black Mask calling a meeting with all of the supervillains that has been recruited. These two pages tell us that Jane Doe, a character who will kill people and then pretend to be them, and Firefly, another character who flies around and loves to set things on fire, are very important for Black Mask's big plan. We don't get to learn this plan of Black Mask because we have to pick up with the new Batman, who is talking in a way that he knew Bruce Wayne very closely, but hated how Batman worked. But also the main point of this is to show us that this new Batman character had already figured out that somehow Black Mask is back and also the third figure in this gang war in Gotham. But then the story has to remind us that Tim Drake is still going around as Batman looking for this fake Batman, where Tim is able to find this fake Batman's version of the Batcave, where it is very creepy for Tim. Except this cave is booby trapped, and of course Tim Drake trips a trap where the bridge of the Batcave explodes. but luckily at the very last second, he is saved by Catwoman. And tell you right now, she is not going to play a big role in this, but she does save Tim Drake. Now, getting back over to the actual Batcave, we see that Alfred is working on Damian, hoping that it will save his life. This leads into Dick Grayson and Alfred having another conversation about Dick Grayson becoming Batman. But Dick again is stating that Bruce would not want that. And Dick thinks that he should not do it because the legacy that Bruce Wayne had built. But you have Alfred basically tell Dick to take up the mantle and build your own legacy. And so you have Dick Grayson agree to become the new Batman, but he sees a note that Tim Drake had left to tell him that he's out being Batman and he has gone hunting. This leads us over to Jim Gordon, who has been really a background character in this book, but now gets a little bit of love where he is meeting up with the new DA about going after the Penguin. Except the DA keeps telling Jim that he needs more evidence before he can go after the Penguin. Except this leads to the GCPD building getting blown up by, of course, Firefly, which is the beginning of the plan of the Black Mask. While the bombs are going off, you have Jane Doe kill an officer, pretending to be that officer, to go upstairs and shoot the new DA, and while saying that it was Two-Face who sent her and Firefly to blow up the place and kill the DA. And this is what Black Mask wanted, which is complete chaos in Gotham. Now, the story reminds us that Tim Drake is in the Batcave of the fake Batman with Catwoman, where you have them looking for clues, except fake Batman appears to knock out Catwoman, and this begins the battle between Tim Drake and the fake Batman. Now, these next few pages, you would think the fight would be pretty even, except it is not. That whoever is the fake Batman is able to use the Batcave to give him the edge in this fight. Except in the middle of the fight, you have Tim Drake tell us that he was able to figure out that the fake Batman is Jason Todd. This is huge because at this point, Jason Todd in DC Comics was more of a problem for Batman, where DC kind of made Jason this character who was going to come around and just cause problems for Batman every way possible. I mean, he still does now in current DC Comics, but Jason was more insane these days than he is now in DC Comics. But long story short, he was the one going around pretending to be the new Batman. And this fight between him and Tim Drake leads into him stabbing Tim Drake, leaving us to believe that Tim Drake could be dead. But finally, entering into the final chapter of this book, we see that Nightwing had enough of what is happening with Gotham, that he believes it is time for him and the other members of the Bat family to stop from what is happening to Gotham. And so you have Dick Grayson tell the Bat family that someone is playing in the shadows of the gang war between Two-Face and the Penguin, and he wants the Bat family to figure out who is it while he goes after Tim and Jason Todd, who is the one running around as Batman. Getting back over to the Batcave, you have Alfred in the Batcave taking care of a few things, and you have Damian Wayne try to knock him out so he can sneak out to help the others, and you have Alfred stop him and tell him that he is going to let Damian leave, but he must take Squire with him as well. This is where we see Alfred hand him an earlier version of Damian's Robin suit, where you have Damian and Squire leave to help Tim and Dick stop the fake Batman, which of course is Jason Todd. Now, there are a couple pages where we see Jim Gordon talking about the military coming in to bring down both Two-Face and the Penguin, which will bring more chaos into Gotham. But then some time has passed and we do get a second page where we see Vicky Vale reporting, and she tells us that the Penguin has been captured. We also have a man tell us that Batman basically kept this city together, but now he is gone, the city is falling apart. Then we see someone turn the TV off, and we see that it is the new Black Mask who was watching the TV and enjoying what is happening to Gotham. But the story shifts the focus back over to Dick Grayson, where we see him right now finding the Batcave of Jason Todd, where of course when he walks in, we see flames in the shape of a bat, and it says, "Too late." Then you have Jason Todd begin to talk to Dick Grayson through an intercom, but when Dick tries to grab the cowl that Tim wore, of course it was a trap and it shocks Dick Grayson. Then you have Jason Todd appear in the same room with Dick, and this begins the many pages of the fight between these two characters, but Dick now knows that Jason is the fake Batman now. Now this leads into Dick Grayson playing a message that Bruce Wayne had made just in case he had died, and of course he is dead now. A message that was supposed to be given to Jason Todd, where it is Bruce saying sorry for not being able to help Jason when he was young, but also when he came back to life. Now Jason does not want to hear it and continues to battle against Dick Grayson, but this is where you have Dick Grayson state that Jason Todd's mind is slipping and he is becoming more crazy than he was when he first popped up. Except this fight does get very bloody. Now you might wonder what happened to good old Tim Drake, who was pretending to be Batman. Well, we come to find out that Bruce Wayne's old suit was able to barely save Tim Drake's life, except he passes out again after getting up. But then the Batcave starts to fall apart because of the battle between Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Explosions everywhere that leads to Tim falling deeper into the cave, but saved by Damian Wayne and Squire at the very last second. This leads into an epic battle between Dick Grayson and Jason Todd on top of a train, where we get to see Dick Grayson try to get Jason Todd to realize that 1, he needs to stop, 2, he needs help, and 3, that he actually can be part of the Bat family again, but he needs to work with Dick Grayson. Except Jason Todd can't accept the fact that Dick Grayson is actually speaking the truth. But this fight ends with Dick Grayson getting one single punch on Jason Todd that makes him fall off the top of the train, and Dick tries to pull up Jason, but Jason lets go of the train and falls into the river of Gotham. But the story closes on a note that we see Dick Grayson walking down the entrance of the Batcave, the famous one that is behind the grandfather clock in Wayne Manor. When he gets down there, he sees Alfred and Damian Wayne. Also, Damian Wayne is in the Robin suit. But then by the next page, we see that Dick Grayson has finally embraced the idea of becoming the next Batman. And this is where we are going to end today's video. And so guys, please leave me a like down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'm out of here and I will see you on the next comic book video. Later guys.